Welcome back, everybody. It's myself, James Banks, joined, as always, by Bling and Petraeus. Now, we've got a slight change of what we said before we went to the break. We're actually blessed enough to be adding some more games to what you guys will see today because we're speeding through things a little bit quite quickly here. So the next game we're going to see is going to be Sacsri versus MC. Now, that's a game that I'm sure a lot of people are going to appreciate, especially Petraeus with another teammate on board.
Oh, no, that means nothing. Teammate's nothing.
Well, he doesn't vote for him. He doesn't want them to win for some reason. But I think he's just being realistic.
This time.
Yeah. Oh, there, okay, it's in your favour.
Yeah.
So he's just a Zerg. Like, he doesn't care, not about teams or anything. It's just Zerg, Zerg, Zerg. And then Petraeus is very happy. But that's going to be nice. So we're going to get a ZVP. And what are you guys thinking about this? We can quickly just go down the map pool. So it's going to be Overgrowth first. Then we're going to be on to Research Station. And then Catalina on the third one. What are your thoughts on that, guys?
Pretty standard maps.
Yeah, pretty normal. I mean, Zergs don't like Secret Spring. Protoss don't like Inferno Pulse. Some people like Deadwing, some people don't. I don't know.
Yeah, I
like,
just preference.
I don't think it's a huge deal on ZVP, especially. Yeah, they all play out pretty similar.
I think the two maps that we were always going to see is the first two, Overgrowth and Varney. Catalina's it's been around for ages. I don't really know how I feel. Yeah, I don't really know how I feel about it. PvZ, I feel like it can be difficult in certain situations, but then at the same time, it's kind of short rush distance to each base, so it's kind of in the Protoss favour if they're doing a kind of timing or whatever. But I don't know, I feel like it's a fairly even map. It's just, it depends on styles and style clashes and whatnot. So, yeah, I guess those maps are, yeah, pretty good.
Yeah, well, we can see how the veto went down on score. So, Sacsri obviously choosing not to have Deadwing in there, as you said. It's just a matter of preference, so not liking that. And then Exception lost. That went to MC, took that out. And then Expedition lost even, sorry. I can't read from this distance. And obviously Inferno Pools, as you suggested, MC would take out as well. So Secret Spring's chosen by Sacsri.
I think Inferno Pools and Secret Spring would have been taken out by either player. Yeah. I don't think that's really...
Like, they definitely left it to their second veto so that in the off chance that the other person might do it for them.
Yeah.
Please take it out for me so I don't have to bother.
Tactical veto, you've got to see.
Play it smart, definitely. Now, coming on to this game, MC, he's not probably in the best shape of his life at the moment. I don't think he is... up there as where he used to be. How do you think he's going to fare against Sacsri?
I don't know if I'd say that. I'd say he's much more inconsistent than he used to be, but there's like flashes of it. It's hard to describe. He did
like reliving the memory.
Yeah, he did pretty decently in the last GSL season.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not going to name a result because I have no idea, but I know he did decently. Sacsri, he came through the Korean qualifier, so a pretty impressive feat just in its own.
That's not easy to come through that at all.
No. So yeah, I would say could go either way. I wouldn't want to pick either side, but yeah, definitely.
You wouldn't want to pick. Okay. You do realise it's so indecisive. You wouldn't want to pick your teammate or a Zerg, all right? Just so we can,
we're talking.
Clear that up.
Petraeus, you're like the most neutral person.
All right.
You know what? Yeah. Okay, even though I'm kind of contradicting myself a little bit, and I didn't say that I predicted Targa. Yeah,
you can't suddenly put that on.
Yeah, but I'm saying I stuck by Targa. He's my boy. Prediction: who I want to win. Blah blah blah. Whatever. Targa was going to win in my eyes, but all right. Anyway.
He's not letting this go ever. We're going to have to deal with this for 2 days, yeah? Okay. You going on about Targa.
Anyway, no, I was just using that as an example. I mean, yeah. I feel like their styles might clash a little bit. From what I've seen from Sacsri, his PvZ is like super aggressive, and MC is kind of super aggressive as well. So... it's going to clash, in my opinion. It'll make exciting games, though, for sure. So it should be fun to see. But yeah, I haven't... The last time I kind of saw Sacsri was DreamHack. And the last kind of time I saw MC was not that long ago, but he's always been MC. So I can't really say too much about Sacsri, but MC is always going to be MC. And no doubt these games would be fun and entertaining games to watch. But
always with MC.
Yeah, but the outcome, like you said, MC is so kind of inconsistent. So yeah, it's hard to say. It's hard to say.
I did actually see MC's games against Rogue. I think it was like the first game of the tournament. And those looked pretty grim, honestly. He was not going well there, so...
Ooh, see, this is what we want to hear from you. Some fighting talk, some real facts. Put it out there.
I think you would agree with me.
Yeah, but lay it on the table. That's good. That's what we want. This is how it should be. Well, we're going to throw it over to the casters now, and you guys will get to enjoy MC taking on Sacsri. So over to you guys.
Thanks, guys. And we just heard it from Petraeus, who's finally been decisive that MC is just in an impossible to recover from slump, and Sacsri should take this 2-0.
Yeah, extremely bold prediction from Petraeus there, who does end up picking Sacsri in that game. And I think that has a bit of sense to it, because MC hasn't looked that strong in PvZ so far in this tournament. But of course, he is the boss toss, and you can never count him out. So.
Yeah, MC, of course, like his 2014 was really good when he was able to compete in the WCS Europe region, living and training in Europe throughout most of the year. Picked up a lot of prize money, a couple WCS titles as well. But this year, you know, being forced to play in Korea did make that, as Petraeus pointed out, that GSL finish. He finished top 16, so not too bad. He wasn't knocked out by a Zerg, but as you said, not able to take that first match against Rogue hurt him quite a bit in this group.
Yeah, looks like we are actually into the first map already here in the bottom left on Overgrowth. It is the blue Protoss player, MC.
The boss toss up against the red Zerg player in the northeast, My Insanity's Sacsri.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, last year MC playing in Europe, so this year it's actually a bit of a question mark. Just how is he going to do being back in Korea? Of course, he's going to benefit a lot from having that practice on the Korean server, which he didn't have before, but at the same time, the competition is going to be a lot tougher. So it's really up to him to show that he can still do what he's known for, which is taking down a lot of tournaments and a lot of money.
I think it's especially important to note, as MC goes for a really fast probe scout after this pylon on the low ground, that, you know, at the very least, you think that MC should be able to fare better in these outside tournaments if he's practicing in Korea, but it's also a bit trickier because some of those Kespa guys are coming out more now, like, you know, such as Rogue, as an example.
Yeah, and this is actually a pretty old school opening by MC, going for the 9th scout and dropping the pylon at the natural. Now going to follow up with the Nexus first, but that early probe scout did force Sacsri into a 15 pool, and I wonder if he's going to go for a gateway or a forge with this.
I mean, gateway is generally seen as like the more greedy opening. You don't have that cannon that you can set up to try to deny lings, but at the same time, his probe is even still going to try to delay the Sacsri just a bit more. That Nexus is on the way, so every second that Nexus gets ahead is, you know, he gets 17 seconds build advantage, and suddenly he's a worker ahead.
Yeah, and this is really annoying actually for Sacsri, but he does get that hatchery down in due time. He didn't lose too much time there. And we can see the Forge coming down from Minchel, so he's kind of playing a build that we do not see that often anymore these days. Like, it wasn't even an attempted cannon rush, it was just a scout into Nexus Forge, and is this like making a comeback or something? I haven't seen this in a while.
It could just be MC saying like, okay, maybe I don't play versus Sacsri too much. I want to get a fast scout, and of course you're not going to cannon rush out of a probe scouting that fast most of the time, since it, as you said, will force the Zerg to open up with a pool first. Especially because if you wait and try to force a hatch first, then you just pylon block them, and the Zerg hates their life.
Yeah, from the Zerg perspective though, like Sacsri is now free to just make a lot of drones. He doesn't really need an early gas at all because he knows Warp Gate is just going to be super late.
Yeah, and that's very nice for him. So MC could potentially try to take that into account and make a play based off of the forge that he's gotten, either going for a reasonably quick +1 and then moving into maybe +2 blink, which is the gold standard really in PvZ these days, or something else. MC is the guy that's crazy enough to do something with just like +1, or maybe even not use the forge at all.
Yeah, the only thing I've really played against recently on the ladder when people played this build was like some kind of Immortal all-in, which on this map is actually a pretty good option, I feel. It's pretty strong, and of course, it's not as popular as it used to be in this form, so it could catch Sacsri off guard. Looks like for now, MC will hide that probe off to the side a little bit. I think Sacsri should have seen that there was a probe on the map, and he's probably going to find it with this very curious Zergling, which is really good for Sacsri.
Yeah, very important. Does not want to have a pylon. You know, there's so many bad things that can happen to you if you leave that probe out on the map. Like, the reinforcement time it takes is really tremendous. Like you don't want to warp into attack from your own base if you're Protoss. And MC getting this probe pushed back. This is a nice grab for Sacsri.
Yeah, and so far not too much is happening. We can't see the +1 from the Forge. So before any tech building, he gets the +1. That leads to believe that he probably wants to go for a third base and get a quick Twilight Council, get the +2 to get a good head start on those upgrades. And probably not going to be heavy all-in. Could still be some kind of gateway zealot push, but with this probe being found, it's looking less and less likely. Yeah. Wow, another one goes out though.
Is this like a bait play? He's like, okay, he's not actually looking at that probe, so this next one can just move across the map?
That could be the case. I don't know. Sacsri would have seen that one, but looks like MC, where will he go with it?
That is quite weird that he's like just runs the other probe past the lane. He's like, no, don't mind me. You're chasing the other guy.
Right, and now how can MC know? Did my opponent see it or not? But it looks like he's actually going to hide it, so...
He doesn't seem to be aware. The probe could go. It could put a pylon here now, but is that what he wants to do? He's still queuing up probes.
Yeah,
he's now adding on gateways, but is he going to go for the magic number? Oh, it looks like he's going to take his gas. So I guess probably get a Twilight Council, right?
It could be to show the Overlord, you know, hey, I'm taking my gases, but then he wouldn't have to take the one on the inside. So I don't think this is going to be a fake. There's also a sentry on the way. He could just do something like a 3-gate very light pressure build and then take a third base right after it.
Yeah, and the Mothership core is slowly building up that energy, so by the time he makes that, that feigned gateway push with his +1, he has the option to just recall away. I do find it interesting.
He's also getting a Stargate, so he's doing a little bit of everything right now.
That's what I was going to ask you about, because I'm like, I expected him to go for the Twilight Council, but this is a bit out of left field, I think.
Something that I've seen a few games recently is that the Protoss will put on some pressure on the front, and then Zerg is so focused on stopping that an Oracle can just fly into the main and the natural and get a ton of probe kills. But Sacsri already has support crawlers in place. Looks like Sacsri was also a little bit confused by what was going on.
Yeah, just as confused as I was, I guess, at least, as the Stalkers are going to push forward. Link speed is not done just yet, so he has that ability to kite back off creep. I think this creep tumor that Sacsri placed outside the third base actually makes it really nice, because if he gets this around, then he has the potential to pick off some Stalkers, actually forcing out the Time Warp, so no recall. He needs to be very careful with how far out he keeps these Stalkers on the map.
Yeah, but Sacsri did hit a bit of a nasty supply block. He's now getting 7 roaches off of 46 workers, so I feel like Sacsri might be thinking this is way more all-in than it actually is. Does get a surround on the Stalkers, and a lot of them are falling 3. All of them are dying.
That's horrible. That's a fantastic pickup for Sacsri. MC, it's like, yeah, he time warped slow lings off creep, but he completely threw away his only opportunity to get out of there. And now the lings are going to find this pylon. They'll pick that off. The Oracle is on the map, or at least it's coming out, but he's taking this third base. He doesn't really have a whole lot else to work with. The Burrow and Roach speed now coming in for Sacsri could make those Roaches very, very powerful and very annoying, since he's already got the Spores to defend against this Oracle.
Yeah, and Sacsri dropping the Spire and already has a Spore in the main from earlier, so this Oracle probably not going to do too much. I don't think MC was expecting Sacsri to go speed before Lair in that game, and that threw off all his timings, and not having the recall was pretty bad. But now Sacsri pushing the front with a few lings. There are some Roaches on the way to the third, and actually there's nothing to defend. There's no Void Ray or anything like that. There's just one cannon and a few sentries, and I think MC should be able to defend this, but it's still pretty annoying. And the Spire is actually really, really quick in this game.
Yeah, denying the cannon, though, very important that you pointed that out, Rhett, because Burrow is slowly coming close to finishing, and if he pokes in again with Roach speed finishing or pushes the cannon away, then that opens up the potential for the Burrow to allow him to bypass the force fields at some point or another. He did pull most of the Roaches back towards the gold base, but he's got another wave moving up here. Of course, the Oracle can also provide detection.
And he's got so much presence on the map that, and MC hasn't been using this Oracle to scout the whole base, that I'm pretty sure the Spire is still completely undetected. And when you see this many Roaches and Lings moving on the minimap, you're like, not really thinking about the possibility of a Spire. This is kind of just like a fake pressure, like, hello MC, here I am. I don't really want to kill you, but I just want to keep you busy. He does poke in a little bit with the Zerglings. He's just going to lose a couple of them. But now MC should be thinking already, wait, what is going on? That wasn't that many units at all.
Yeah, and well, here it comes. 11 Mutalisks on the production tab. I do like how he burrowed a Zergling between the natural and the third base. He can see when the units are coming by. I mean, the Changeling also helps too. But he can see when any units try to move between those bases. So he knows right now that they all move back to the third base. So the main base is very exposed to those Mutalisks that are coming out.
Yeah, and MC is going to be in for a very nasty, nasty surprise. He's getting a Robo and 3 more gates, which just indicates that he doesn't know at all what is happening. The only thing he's going to have for defense is Blink, which is pretty good, but did the Phoenix spot the Mutas? I don't think they saw anything, or the Oracles rather. But he's just going to show up to an empty undefended probe line here.
Yep. And he knows that the army has not yet moved over to the main, so he can safely come in here. Maybe some Stalkers are going to get warped in, but with this many Mutalisks, he could pick off 1 or 2 if they get warped in too close, and that I think that's going to be exactly what he does.
11 probes already falling, Stalker falling. He's just going to engage these Stalkers right here, and he will take out 3 of them. The Mutas are not being pushed back at all. And MC right now realizing he is in a world of trouble. All he can do is warp in more Stalkers, but his own Stalkers are being blocked by the Zealot. Nothing going his way, really. And this is giving Sacsri a ton of time just with map control to do whatever he wants.
I think you said it best, Red. A nasty surprise for MC as those Mutalisks swing back. And look, he's already got the follow-up in play. He's going for Hydralisks.
Yeah, this is an interesting follow-up. Maybe he's expecting MC would drop the Stargates right away and then just punish him with a big ground force. But MC so far not really dropping any structures. I think MC might just be looking to push this back with Stalkers. He does envision the Mutas really nice, but the sentries are going to get picked off. 3 of them, no, 2 of them fall, which is nice. Oh, he's coming back in for more. And getting these will be really nice for his Hydra attack later on.
Yeah, that's a pretty good pickup for... I mean, I feel like MC actually managed to kill off quite a bit of forces of Sacsri. Of course, those Hydralisks are quite strong, but if he doesn't get them out in a bulk number, then dealing with this gets tricky. Okay, well, I guess the Mutas don't meet much resistance. Only had like a Stalker or 2 in that natural mineral line. More probes falling.
More and more damage, and MC down at 50 probes. Looks like MC has had enough. He's like, it's now or nothing. I'm going to push your base. But he will be greeted by a ton of Roach Hydra. I don't think this is going to bode well for MC at all.
Yeah, MC's getting ready to move up this ramp. The army spilling down towards where those rocks are as these Mutalisks continue to do a little bit of harass. MC, is he going to commit? Is he going to make that Patreus level commitment?
I don't think he's seen the Hydras yet. So here we go. He sees the Hydras. He needs to force field everything off. He doesn't have the sentries. The Hydras are moving into the Stalkers, getting up close and personal. And MC is losing so many units, and the supply is dropping. It's maxed out Zerg against the 120 supply MC. And even though Parting already showed today how good Blink Stalkers are, I don't think it's going to be enough in this game.
Yeah, that time warp runs out, and it's just Roach Hydra versus pure Stalker as Sacsri remains maxed out. His upgrades completing during this fight. And I mean, the Blink Stalkers can trade reasonably well, but as the cooldowns run out, he can focus down the weakest of the Stalkers. And I don't see any way that MC can really handle this, because I think he still even has those Mutalisks in that 3rd base mineral line killing more probes.
3 more probes go down, and there's a swell of Zerglings joining up with the Roach Hydra to go for the final blow right into the heart of MC's base. And I don't think he's going to have enough. Even these Stalkers getting caught out of position trying to defend the Mutalisk, but they get greeted by a bunch of Lings, and now all of Sacri's army is together. There's no Mothership Core, no Photon Overcharge, just Stalkers against Roaches, Hydras, and Lings, and that does never go well.
Yeah, this is a bad spot to be in for MC as he's doing everything he possibly can. He's managed to split up the Zerg army a little bit, not all of these forces fighting at once, so he catches a little bit of a break here and there, but the problem is he's still taking a tremendous amount of damage behind this. The only thing that I think favors him is that Sacsri doesn't really have drones on his 4th base, so he's trying to just stabilize on his 3 that he has and get back to even economy.
Yeah, he pushes back Sacsri for now, but the production is just so high, and more units. Here we are, killing Stalker after Stalker, and I think this might finally just be too much for MC.
Yeah, he's up 172 to 95 supply. That War Prism trying to get a couple of extra units out here. And still those Burrowed Lings to watch where the army is moving outside. So Sacsri might be able to see these units coming back over towards the 3rd base. Just barely out of vision. That was
still cool. He also has one on the right side, so he has good vision of the map.
Yeah, and that War Prism is going to try to make a play in the main base, I guess dropping some cells. Oh, wow, is it going to... Oh, okay. I thought it was going to fly over the Ling, then the Ling just moved. I was like, okay. Do a bit of harass. All those Stalkers blink.
Sacsri is once again knocking on the front door.
And it looks like he's going to try to, hammer this one in once again, Rhett, as he moves up towards the wall. I guess he just runs, a few of the Lings through, and he's going to force MC to take this fight. That spread is really nice, but he's being a bit cautious. He knows he can't fight this head on.
Yeah, Sacsri being really patient, just saying, come at me, bro, MC, I'm ready for you. And he spreads everything out, and yeah, MC, without Colossus, without Storm, how do you run into an army like this? It's just too much for MC right now.
Yeah, the War Prism hits the main base, going to pick off the Queen, but Sacsri's army is moving in. There are no more force fields for this Protoss army to fall behind, so he has to face the music, and that is GG. Sacsri takes game number 1 against the Boss Toss.
Yeah, really nice game there by Sacsri. Really interesting decision that he would stop at about 11 Mutalisks and then go straight into Roach Hydra. Maybe he was expecting MC would go for a big attack like that. It's kind of like a typical Protoss response to Mutas, like, oh wait, Mutas? If I don't go right now, there's going to be way too many of them, and I'm never going to be able to catch up. So then the Hydras are really good against that ground force that's coming at you. Or if they double Stargate, you suddenly have a ton of Hydras that do really well against Phoenix. Yeah. So nice response.
I can definitely see what you're saying. If you go for the Phoenix play, like then the Hydralisk just absolutely wreck you. You don't have enough. He wasn't anywhere remotely close to being able to move into Colossus. And even with the +2 Blink Stalkers and as good as MC's micro is, like Sacsri just had the unit production and dealt enough damage, killing so many probes that he could never actually get the massive gateway army. Because we've seen Protoss players do it before with just mass stalkers, like close to maxing out on them. And MC's micro is good enough that maybe he has a chance there, but the Mutalisk just did way too much damage.
Yeah, and of course also the start of the game, losing the 5 stalkers really put him in an awkward position there. Just couldn't really use his Oracle to scout. Normally you rely on the Oracle to get a lot of information, but Sacsri did a good job denying that. And a really nice kind of mind game win by him. The second map is going to be Catalina, which, once again, I think it's a good map for the style we just saw. Huge open area in the middle between the second and the natural. Good for Roach's Hydras. Of course, a good map for Mutas as well. Plenty of areas that the Mutas can harass and everything. And we'll have to see what MC does. I don't think that opening he did with the Nexus into Forge is something that really gives you an advantage either.
Yeah, it didn't really seem like it did much for him. As you pointed out, the warp gate technology is so late that by the time he was ready to do any aggression, Zergling speed was finishing up, and he very intelligently got that creep tumor out there so that it was a bit trickier for those stalkers to harass from the end. But yeah, Catalina for PVZ. A lot of open spaces, like you said, especially if he gets the bottom right spawn, then Mutalisk can have a field day.
Right. It's definitely not a map that originally caters really well to Swarm Host. Like, Overgrowth would be the best map for Swarm Host, and Sacsri didn't play Swarm Host on that map. Actually, a lot of the games this tournament in ZVP, we haven't really seen any Swarm Hosts.
Yeah.
So it feels almost like the guys are practicing for the incoming patch very soon, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, if you guys aren't aware, Swarm Hosts are going to be changed quite a bit in the course of the next week.
Looks like
we're pretty much there.
We are ready to go. Game 2 on actually Vani Research Station here. Spawning in the top of the map, it is the blue Zerg player, Sacsri.
Yep, up 1-0, representing My Insanity. His opponent in the southern position, the red Protoss player, representing Trig Esports, he is MC.
This is also a map that is pretty good for Mutalisks. I'm sure as a Terran player, you've had your nightmares against Mutas on this map.
Well, I mean, they can't swing too far past. I mean, if you're a noob like me and you just turtle, you just build like 30 missile turrets in your natural.
Have you not lost your natural on this map against Mutas?
I've lost it enough times to build 30 missile turrets.
I feel like I killed a natural against Terran here, like 30% of my wins, maybe more.
Yeah, it is very, very tricky to deal with on this map for that specific reason. Of course, you can also go behind this mineral line, so you can kind of hide there. I like that as Terran on this map for drop play.
Yeah, also good for Banshees and stuff. So annoying on this map, but yeah, no Terran in this game.
Yeah, I mean, MC can use it in the same way that we're talking about for an Oracle or a Warp Prism. So.
Right, yeah.
We're not that far off topic. Not yet.
Yeah, you're right about Oracle. I think the Oracle is pretty strong on this map, but to use kind of the same way as the Banshee. MC did already show last game that he likes to go for the Oracle opening. This game he will, however, go for a gate first rather than a Nexus first. And just getting this quick scout as well.
Yeah, I actually like you mentioned that because like MC was one of the guys when Heart of the Swarm was really like new, was an Oracle abuser. He like had that one build, I think, on Akalon Waste where he went like 5 Oracle, like just pocketed them until he had 5 and then just like rushed the guy in.
And he was just owning Terrans with it, right?
Yeah, I think he even used it versus Zergs
against everything.
Yeah.
Why not? It's Oracles.
Like, Oracles have really high damage output. I'm going to build a lot of these.
Yeah, and even back in Wings of Liberty, he would use like a ton of Void Rays and just all in with them. Very aggressive air player.
I remember an infamous game, what was it, like between MC and like Thorzane, I think it was, and like a WCS challenger, like maybe the very, very first season of WCS Europe where Thorzane was like 10, he like built like 10 bunkers because MC had like...
Was it Whirlwind or...?
No, I thought it was Akalon because MC was like on one base forever. And still managed to kill him with the Void Rays because he sniped the main base.
Yeah, I think I remember that one as well. But no Void Rays yet. And Sacsri, actually, he went for a very fast gas. He's going to get his link speed very, very early on. So it seems like he might have been a little bit worried about some kind of heavy aggression in this game. It's going to be really nice for him if he actually decides to use that gas, which for now he's not.
And
he might do something else.
Yeah, he has it. I mean, based on what he's scouting,
There we go.
Zergling speed. I was gonna say, like, guys like Violet, when they scout something that doesn't look super aggressive, they'll like cancel link speed or go for a super fast lair, which, I mean, if you can get away with it and your opponent isn't aggressive, then, you know, more power to you. Just leaves you quite vulnerable.
Yeah, against Protoss, though, it's pretty nice to be able to have it. He's going to be able to chase down any probes. He's going to be totally safe, not going to take any damage from like 4 gate or 7 gate, which is quite good on this map. And for now, MC is deciding to get a Stalker anyways, which I think he saw the gas. So he should know that link speed will be out soon and that the Stalker won't be able to get too much harassed. And maybe he's just looking to deny scouting and go for something a little cheeky.
Yeah, that's like the first thing that comes to my mind is getting the Stalker out to push the Overlords out of the main base or the natural. I think there's, as he sees this hatchery on the low ground, I think there's just one Overlord that's really close. He has another one over the center position, just outside the main base ramp, kind of watching over that high ground. So if he loses this first Overlord, then the next one comes from a pretty obvious location.
Yeah, and MC did drop the Stargate quite far away from this Overlord. So it's probably not going to get spotted if that Stalker doesn't leave the base, and that's going to be nice for MC. Sacsri won't know what he's playing against. He does have 3 links controlling the map, and I don't think there's any probes out, so nothing he has to worry about for now, for the next 2 minutes at least.
Yeah, just as a quick check on the wall, and I think he actually might have seen the Stargate. He got pretty close. Okay, not quite close enough.
Just barely. Not. We do see the double gas as well in the natural with the Stalker protecting it, and Sacsri once again trying to peek in a little bit, I think, with the... Oh, no, he's just going to keep it there. So good job by MC. Sacsri doesn't really know anything right now. He doesn't know there's gases on the natural. He doesn't see tech, and we do see the Spore Color. So once again, he's going down his checklist like, I can't scout. I don't want to die to Oracles. I'm going to drop Spores, which might work out really well in this game.
Yeah, I mean...
Because there's an Oracle on the way.
Yeah, I mean... In all reality, like, he's going to go for the Void Ray follow-up to this, which this Overlord does see. But like, what else would he really have to be concerned about if it wasn't a Stargate that the Spores don't help against?
Right, yeah, it's good against DTs. It's possibly even good against the War Prism, because you can move it under the War Prism, something like that. So yeah, it's never a bad choice, but...
It's kind of hard to hide 7 gateways in your base, too.
Yeah, a little bit. I've lost some games, though, because I would be getting Spores, and then, like, I look at the front, and it's like, oh, there's 3 Immortals moving out. Like,
oh, wow.
That feels pretty painful.
Yeah, I guess denying that scouting, you want to keep the fear in your opponent's heart of all the possible things that they could do to you. But the Oracle coming across the map shouldn't really be able to do too much. Like you said, the Spores were built preemptively. He has the cleans.
0 kills.
Yeah, and these Zerglings have been just sharking around the map looking for anything that tries to leave, so he cannot get any pylons set up. I think the only option for MC is to go for this third base.
Yeah, he will get the third base down, which is pretty nice. At the same time, though, Sacsri knows exactly where he's at. Oh, a lot of Zerglings come out of nowhere, and actually the sentries are in a little bit of a bad spot, but is there enough Zerglings? He will take down at least one of them.
Oh, he actually manages to slip into the main base, too. There's not much else to see here aside from the Forge, but if he can pick off a probe, I think even that is a pretty big victory. Actually trying to just surround this sentry that he warped in. Oh.
The Void Ray shows up to save it, but still, yeah, walking around this base, seeing there's no additional gateways, there's nothing else really going on that I have to worry about, and he's keeping MC very, very busy with his multitask. This is just a really, really nice start to the game for Sacsri, I feel.
Yeah, I really like this position, and now Sacsri, seeing and knowing that there's no robotics facility being built yet, he's going straight for Hydralisks and still building a lot of these Speedlings, so he's building an army that's naturally good against Stargate-based openings, and MC adding on 2 more Stargates.
Yeah, this is interesting. This is definitely a map where the third base is so wide open that as a Zerg player intuitively, or however you say that word, you definitely want to go and bust. Like, yeah. Your first reaction is like, I want to build a lot of units and go bust. But in reality, it doesn't always work out that well. But in this scenario, there's not going to be Blink Stalkers. There's going to be a ton of Stargate units. So I'm not really sure how that's going to be. If he just decides to mass Void Rays with the Force Field, there's 17 Hydras on the way and 16 links. This is going to be a massive attack.
Yeah, it's going to be very tricky. I don't think the Oracle quite saw those Hydras. He might have seen the Hydralisk den if he poked by that third base again. This is one of those situations where even just trying to tag some of those units back home would help so that you can see what's popping out of the hatcheries.
Right. There's already 3 Void Rays on the map.
Okay, well, he definitely knows there's Hydralisks now.
Yeah, he knows what's up. There's going to be maybe 6 Void Rays by the time he gets to the base with Photon Overcharge. That's going to be quite hard to break, I think.
Yeah, those Void Rays have, compared to the Hydralisks, they have a lot of hit points. So even if the Hydras have that fast attack speed, the Photon Overcharge can also soak up some extra hits. These Lings are trying to find a place to run in. Actually misses that Force Field a little bit.
Yeah, and the Hydras are almost here, and Sacsri is only following up with Zerglings. It is not that many Hydras, so maybe about 15. These Void Rays are going to be able to target them now. Nice force fields go down, and the Hydras are locked out. The Photon Overcharge is down, and I think MC is probably safe for now. Yeah,
Sacsri is getting that +1. He's starting up his Hive. He's not reinforcing with any more of these gas forces. I mean, most of the Sentry energy is gone, so he's going to try his hand once again, but those Hydras without that speed upgrade getting time warp, they're very, very slow to actually engage and close in on these Void Rays. And good micro by MC to pull the weakened ones back.
Yeah, pulling back the weakened Void Rays so far hasn't lost a single one, and all the Zerglings, all the Hydras are falling, and Sacsri is completely pushed back.
That was actually a phenomenal hold for MC.
And he barely lost anything.
Yeah, that was really nice, especially not losing the Void Rays. Those are the most expensive units in the whole entire army for MC. And now he's adding on a few more gateways, getting that +1 armor. And these Hydras, he recognizes you don't have that speed upgrade. I can come catch you out here, but how far can he go before going too far? I guess there's no more Hydras, so...
No, there is no more Hydras. Sacsri has made just Zerglings to follow this up with, and these Void Rays are just having a field day, and even if something would go wrong, he does have the Mothership Core there, so he could easily recall. I think he's just going to go for a cancel in his 4th base, and I think he's going to be able to easily get it.
Yeah, I'm not actually sure how Sacsri can defend this army. He's going to move his Spore Crawler up front, but the Hydralisks, without anything else to support them, like, he's still just building Hydras. I guess he's just hoping to have that mass number where he can just one-shot all these down since there's not that many force fields left.
Yeah, but losing that 4th base, this is turning out to be a pretty bad situation for Sacsri. The only thing MC can really do wrong here is commit too heavily and end up losing a lot, but yeah, right now he's in a phenomenal position. He's getting more and more Void Rays at home. He's got his Twilight Council on the way, and he's going to look to do a big push here for now.
Yeah, this reminds me of some old school Naniwa play as he's continuing to move in. I mean, the Hydralisks are well spread. Okay, the force field doesn't pinch off too many of them. And he's building 11 more Hydras. Like, he is forcing Sacsri to basically go pure Hydralisk right now.
Yeah, this is going to be a little bit of a scary mass Hydra force if he does manage to max out and add some Vipers with good up dogs, getting Void Ray after Void Ray after Void Ray. He could maybe do some damage with Hydra Queen. But recognizing this, MC is getting the charge for his Zealots. If he would add Storm now, I feel like his army would almost be unbeatable against what Sacsri has.
Yeah, the charge upgrade starting up, like, that's very, very important to close the distance with those Hydras because they are so weak. And MC just wants to come in here and just target down this natural, but not able to get that. Actually might even... No, okay, gets close to losing a Void Ray.
Yeah, good idea. Nice that he didn't lose a Void Ray. Sacsri was ready for that, but just the threat of these Void Rays always being there at the natural, as soon as Sacsri would leave his base with all those Hydras, he's going to be in trouble
because he has the recall. So
right.
It doesn't really matter if Sacri's like, oh, I'm just going to attack you, then MC snipes the base and recalls anyway.
And he is adding the Templar Archive, so it looks like he is getting ready for the next step in this game. I feel like in this game, everything kind of according to MC's plan. The Hydra bust, just not very good against his style. Maybe he would have done better against Blink Stalkers, but these Void Rays are just proving to be really, really efficient against the Hydras.
Yep, I like that he's warping in Zealots to try to cancel this 4th base again while still having these Void Rays here, because he's basically saying you can only save one of these, and Sacsri trying to split his forces up is going to complicate things. He's got a lot of forces moving out across the map, but this prompts those Void Rays to go in. He's going to pick off these Hydras pretty easily, and, well, there's still enough, it looks like, in the main, or the natural to defend.
Yeah, Sacsri seems to realize what is going on, and I think Sacsri is just now maxing out. Maybe he's going to look one big epic push into MC's base, but MC, the Storm is already halfway there. MC maxed out himself, and we're going to see two massive armies clash when they do decide to fight.
Yeah, MC is finally adding on a robotics facility at this point, but +2 attack is almost done. He has charge, and as you mentioned, that also important Storm upgrade, which against such a heavy composition of Hydralisks is very, very powerful.
And MC is just not giving up with these Void Rays. He keeps trying to poke in, keeps waiting for Sacsri. When are you going to move your Hydras, bro? And it looks like he finally is going to, and this is the time when MC turns around. So, well done by Sacsri. He does leave a few Hydras at home. He sees with that Overlord,
yeah, that means
he somehow leaves alive.
I think that means he can bring a few more of his units out. There are a lot of Templar here, so there's a good amount of Storms with these force fields. But the Roaches actually run by. He's going to distract him a little bit.
And Sacsri does have 6 Infestors as well. Nice to get these 2 Roaches in the back of MC's base. Going to be able to take out a few probes while canceling this 4th base. which is going to be nice for Sacsri, but there is a bit of an army here, so he has to be careful. These storms are going to do massive damage onto these hydras if they do land.
That needs to stay spread out, and Sacsri's realizing, you know, where this game is headed. He started up the Enduring Locust upgrade. He realizes that Swarm Hosts are probably his best bet for pushing back this this type of army. The AoE from the Storms is not usually cost-effective against Locust unless you're going to make one big push, and he's very far away from Colossi.
Yeah, but it looks like MC is gathering up for a massive frontal assault. I think he does not have any intention of letting Sacsri get to Swarm Host. If he does, things could get a little dicey, but for now, there will be 4 that are complete, 4 more on the way. So those Locusts are not something that's going to make MC happy when he does see them.
Yep, this heavy gateway force. I mean, Charged Zealots, that's probably like the worst unit to use against Swarm Hosts, as they're going to come out here immediately wrecking these Zealots' base. Cancels this 5th base, so, you know, it's something. But now the Swarm Hosts are starting to situate themselves.
And this has to be like the first time in this game where MC is starting to feel a little bit uncomfortable. Like, wait a minute, are you going Swarm Hosts? All of a sudden, I'm on a little bit of a timer, and I have to do something soon because I don't want you to get 16 Swarm Hosts and a ton of static, because then all of a sudden my Void Rays, what are they really going to do against Spores and Locusts, you know?
Yeah, not a lot. He's moving that army towards the gold base. Maybe the Void Rays are going to go once again for a base snipe, and I think this time, no, actually that army's there. It actually gets a fungal growth on all of the Void Rays, recalling, but not able. Oh my goodness, I almost had a heart attack, Rhett.
Very quick recall, but look at these ground units. They're kind of just out there, but unfortunately Sacsri won't be able to punish. But as this game goes on, what do you think MC can do from here? Go for Tempest, add Colossus? What should he do?
I mean, it's important that he already has the Templar out, because his expensive units should be very difficult for Abducts to get placed on, right? So he can deny any Viper-based play. And I guess from there, with how many Hydras on the map, he kind of needs to go at some point or another for Colossi to really handle this. The Void Rays are going to come out, but like he's still playing with fire, because if that Mothership Core gets sniped or anything, if it's not close enough to the Void Rays when it gets fungled, then he could just lose this. And I like that he's just trying to abuse this position. He wants to force him to clump up and chase him.
Yeah, kind of a crazy decision for Sacsri to go and push here. He's in a lot of trouble, in a very dangerous position with these Hydras. MC is right
he's
there.
Spread out. He fungles the army, but the Swarm Hosts are sending the next wave of Locust over here, so holding these units in position. He still doesn't want to engage the Storm just yet. Even with the fungal, he can't attack this army because of the Storm.
This is a dangerous game that Sacsri is playing, but it does seem like he gets all his units back home safely, and he's getting off a lot of nice fungals, but bam, go to feedbacks. Not a lot of energy left for those infestors.
Oh, he picks up a couple of the Templars. Yeah, he lost at least 2 or 3 storms to that wave of Locust, and I think the one other unit that he has here with some energy, I think that's a Sentry. Could be, yeah, it's a Sentry. So he doesn't actually have any more storms with this army at the moment.
Yeah, and I think Sacsri is definitely catching up into the units lost tab by now. MC losing little bits of pieces here and there. He is now adding Colossus to his army, but Sacsri is on 4 base, and Sacsri is slowly creeping forward. And in the next few minutes, wow, he's making 3 Colossus at a time. So he's got 3 Robos, and he really wants to make a big push to end this game soon with the AoE damage being added on. But Sacsri has got to be feeling pretty good that he's made a real game out of this after that first field attack.
Yeah, that I had to say, like MC being up 30 supply. When you're down 30 supply to MC as a Zerg, like that's usually a sign that you're about to die. But now he's getting a lot more static defense. He's getting his +3 upgrades for the Locust. But at the same time, he's going into double Spire. So he's going to have the option to get some Corruptors to help with abducting those Void Rays. And especially, I mean, I don't think Mutalisks with the number of Stargates on the map, but, you know, always an option, I guess.
Yeah, just in case the Protoss goes for Tempest, it's really nice to start those upgrades. And by the time you do add Corruptors, they're going to be nicely upgraded. I think now would be the time for Sacsri to probably add a few Vipers. Looks like he will go for a counterattack with Hydras.
The Hydralisk
you see every day.
The Hydralisk run by picks off a pylon powering a few of these structures. I mean, as far as the tech goes, like what ideally would he want to snipe? I guess the Robo facility so that he can't build more Colossus?
The Robo or just killing more Stalkers for now, pretty good. But MC already had 2 more Robos, so it's not really going to hurt him that much. Looks like MC once again pushing out on the map with his main force, trying to cancel a possible gold base, but it's not there. And for once, I don't think there's that much in the natural against these Void Rays, although there might be a bunch of spores.
What does he actually have if Void Rays go back to his natural? This kind of reminds me of that Mutalisk conversation we had at the start of this game, where it's like, yeah, just coming in and killing the naturals. That's his hive too, so he really can't afford to lose that.
Yeah, I'm not sure why MC was holding back.
Mutalisks. So I think he recognizes that because this army is maxed out, if he just makes a big enough of a swell of mutas to just knock down the Void Rays with these, oh my goodness.
Yeah, this is actually a really cool decision because there's no Phoenix.
Yeah, it's like even though he has the Stargates, he doesn't have the supply to actually build anything that fights against the Mutalisks. Does he attack this head on with the Mutas, though?
This is scary, though, because I don't know if you can fight that many Void Rays straight up. With Storm support, this is a tough position right now for Sacsri. If he holds this attack, his Mutas are going to do great, but the Fungals are doing so much damage, and the more damage on the Void Rays, the scarier his Mutas become.
There's no more Storms available either for MC, so if he's going to make a move, I guess he had to do it before the Archon was morphed. That Archon is really going to do well to anchor this.
And I think Sacsri is also making a ton more Mutas in those eggs, so he might have maybe close to, 23 more. So he's going to have like 35, 36 Mutas. And there's no Mothership Core. There's one Archon, a few Stalkers, and this fight is going to be so hard to predict. Does MC have enough to beat all these Mutas?
It's so tricky. Like, that Archon is going to be instrumental in his defense of this. Once that falls, like, you lose your splash damages. And he's actually, oh wow, a couple of these Mutas actually just engaging that directly. That was a bit sloppy.
Yeah, he lost quite a few there for free. Also, MC now knows that there are Mutas, so he can instantly start that Phoenix production with his 2 Stargates. But here we go. The Mutas are rushing in against the Void Rays. And will there be enough to kill? This looks like MC is doing quite okay for now.
Yeah,
and he's taking down a lot of Mutas in this fight.
Yeah, I mean, he had a lot of Mutas. He did pick off that Archon, but the Void Rays with the Stalkers are just too strong. And I think it also comes down to the upgrades that he may have had. Another Warp In comes up. The Swarm Hosts are still doing what they can, but the number of Void Rays that he has, like, he still has a chance to bust this down, and there's not a whole lot of static defense next to these Swarm Hosts, at least from this angle.
Yeah, and that reinforcing pylon is really, really good for MC. I wasn't sure it was there, so it was really scary with all those Mutas popping out, but he's just able to warp in so many Stalkers. He's got great upgrades on the ground, and now Sacri's lost his main, his third base, and he's losing everything. Just the Swarm Hosts are pretty much left with a few Infestors, with some static, but there's so many Colossus, still so many Void Rays left. There's no way he's going to be able to break this army.
Yeah, the choice to go into those Swarm Hosts bought him a lot of time, but Sacsri just doesn't seem like he's going to be able to defend this. GG is called, and MC ties the series up 1 apiece.
Yeah, nice play by MC. Like you said, showing off a bit of Naniwa old school Void Ray style in that game, and really doing well against those Hydras. And even though things got a little tricky there in the end with the Swarmos, we saw how persistent he was. He's always been a player like that who just keeps attacking, and in the end, he found a hole and punished Sacsri there, and now it's 1-1.
Yeah, that's got to be a confidence booster for MC, as it's his first map win here at the Gfinity Spring Masters. Because you know, going out 0-2 to Rogue, he loses the first map to Sacsri, but now he's like, okay, I'm in control a bit here. I still know what I need to do to be able to win games from kind of awkward situations, right? Because the Oracle didn't do anything at first. The Lings came up and like grabbed a couple of units too. It wasn't like ideal, but his Void Ray control was really important when he held off that first mass Hydralisk push.
Yeah, and at the same time, with the way Sacsri recovered, it seemed like his Swarmos play was pretty nice. So I wonder what would have happened in that game if he didn't go for that big Ling Hydra push at the beginning, because he showed some really nice control with the Infestors, with the Swarmos, defending the Void Rays everywhere. So I feel like he also played a pretty good game. And those Mutas could have worked out really well, but unfortunately, MC just too quick to attack there, didn't give Sacsri any time to make that switch and put on some counter pressure. And now the last map is going to be Catalina. So what do you expect on that one?
I mean, it's definitely, as you said earlier, not the Swarm Host map. There's too much open space, and that can still favor the kind of style that we saw in the first game out of Sacsri with the very mobile force. But I mean, what do you like here? You're the Zerg expert.
I'm mostly curious which opening MC is going to do, because you could expect like a 3-hatch before pool on this map, and then the question is, do I want to try to punish that? Or do I want to go for a Nexus first and be greedy myself? And MC is the type of player that could really do anything. And the opening builds might play a big part in how this next game is going to play out as well.
All right, well, we'll have to see, as we are now loaded into the final game of this best of 3. And this is a loser match, so you do not want to drop this map. You will be eliminated from the tournament. In the bottom right position, we have the blue Protoss player who just tied things up. He is Trig Esports' MC.
And his opponent showcasing some nice Swarmos play in the last game. It is the Red Zerg representing my insanity. It is Sacsri.
So ideally, looking at the mid game, past whatever happens with the openers from these players, what do you like to use when you're playing Zerg against Protoss on Catalina?
Personally, I kind of like this style where I'm playing Roachhider Viper, and then I transition into either Brute Lords or Swarm Hosts, which I think is something that Hydra likes to play on this map, but I don't think Korean Zergs like it too much. I actually really wouldn't know what to expect from Sacsri in this game, but I would like to see him go 3-hatch before pool for sure.
Yeah, just like to see him go super, super greedy. MC is opening up with a gateway. So unless he was already thinking about doing some sort of like basically cheese level attack, I think he could probably get away with that without too much trouble, right?
Yeah, this is actually pretty safe play from MC, getting the gate first and going for the scout. And I'm not sure what to think about this. It's a really neutral opening. It's not one way or the other. It's just in the middle.
I mean, MC opens with gateway, but he also gets no gas, right? So he is going to go for a fast Nexus.
Right.
It's basically the I'm not sure I can get away with a Nexus first build.
Right. It's still pretty greedy. It's something that we've seen Parting do a lot. He's going to drop that 17 Nexus most likely. This is a pretty strong build, but Sacsri with the... once again, he's getting the gas at 240, so... He's really worried about some kind of 1-gate into 4-gate pressure. I think that's what you're trying to counter when you're playing this build. But that's not what MC is doing, so I think this is pretty okay for MC.
Yeah, I mean, without the gas, without that cybernetics core, going for this Nexus, he's very far away from having his warp gate technology ready, which means any sort of pressure that would require the Zergling speed to defend, unless he was going to do something, well, crazy aggressive himself. And I think it looks like Sacsri's realized it because he didn't immediately put the drones on the gas. Now he does, but he gets to see the Nexus timing, so he should know what's up.
Yeah, I think once again we will see him go for that quick speed anyways, just to be safe against any kind of shenanigans that might happen. It also does give you a lot of map control, like the probe scout is not really going to be a factor because it just gets hunted down so quick, and MC will see this gas. And now we have to wonder what is going on in MC's brain. He's thinking, oh, he's going speed again. What can I best do against this? And the last 2 games he played that Oracle, and honestly it didn't do that much damage, so you might just want to change it up this game.
Yeah, it hasn't done, I mean, the Oracles really haven't done anything for him, even in the first map where he had that kind of, I would say, unexpected Oracle transition, but Sacsri, not seeing anything, played safe anyway, and he had the spores prepared. So I definitely agree that going Oracle again would be a little bit odd. Like he's basically gambling at that point, hoping that Sacsri doesn't blindly prepare again.
It might just be his favorite build, though. Actually, it looks like there's quite a few Zerglings, at least 8 of them. For Sacsri out, which is more than usual. It looks like he's going to try to harass a little bit.
Yeah, because the wall isn't ready yet for MC, so he's seeing an opportunity where maybe he can get in since he knows that it was the delayed gas, delayed cybernetics core. So he's like, okay, you won't have a mothership core stalker out like super, super fast, so he can come and do a little nibbling. Even just killing this pylon, I think, would be pretty nice. Of course, it does cut the possible amount of drones he could have made.
Yeah, he's definitely going to get this pylon and maybe a probe, but there is a Stalker in the Mothership core now, so he will get 1 probe, which is pretty nice, and MC loses a bit of mining time. Sacsri does lose about 3 links for it, and like you said, the larva for the drones, but it's not done. Speed is going to finish at some point, and now the wall-in can't really complete because the pylon got killed, so he can't make a proper wall, which has got to be a really uncomfortable feeling as well. Yeah,
I do like that you mentioned that. As all the lings that he keeps alive here, he can use when speed finishes. Being a bit brave with them, though.
Some kind of, well, I guess all-ins don't work anymore because of the mothership core that pretty much stops anything in its tracks. But with a wall like this, it's pretty vulnerable.
You think, like, if he was going to try, like, a big push, this would be the ideal scenario, based on the way that he's kind of bullied MC?
Like something like Roach Ling... But I think Photon Overcharge just kills everything anyways. From MC's side, however, we do not see the Stargate this game. We see a Forge and we see a Robotics. So this is interesting. Normally with the Forge you take a 3rd base and the Robotics comes much later, but in this game it's so soon. Maybe he's looking for something like a Warp Prism attack with +1. What do you think?
I mean, I guess it also opens the door for what you said earlier, like the potential for some Immortal-based play, as MC is the kind of guy to make big ballsy pushes like this. I think, like, if he's going to go +2 blink, most of the time you kind of just delay that robotics facility. So unless he's worried about burrow, I'm not sure that that's the direction he wants to head in.
Getting those 4 gases as well is MC, so I think this might just be a War Prism with some +1 Zettled Harass into a 3rd base, which is an interesting way to go about taking a 3rd base these days. It's something you don't really see very often, but if Sacsri is not prepared, then +1 Zealots can kill infinite amount of Zerglings so efficiently.
Yeah, especially since he had to build that kind of emergency gateway to block his ramp. It puts him at 4 total, right? So his ability to harass out of this Warp Prism is a little bit stronger than the average game. And you can't say, like, maybe he was planning it, but he needs to build a wall, and his hand was forced by the Zerglings blocking his original one.
Yeah, and he could also just bring the sentries, and then if Sacsri isn't paying attention, he's just in a world of trouble.
His force field the ramp, warp in +1 Zealots, and the Zerg player cries.
Cries very much when that happens. But Sacsri actually doing a really nice job splitting his links, putting them on patrol to go on the outskirts of the map, just so nothing gets past him. But MC smartly killing one of them and will get the Warp Prism unspotted on the bottom side of the map.
Oh, is he going to run past this patrolling Ling? It's just barely close, but I think... Oh, he catches a glimpse. So if he's paying attention to his mini-map, he's like, red blip, what's going on, what's going on? He still has some roaches in his main.
Yeah, he saw the robotics already, so he seems to be ready for this. And MC is looking like he wants to fly directly to that ramp, but it's greeted by 4 roaches. And this is not going to work, MC. I'm sorry. Sacsri is ready for this attack.
Yeah, trying to bait those units down, not going to be successful as the Hydralisk Den finishes up for Sacsri. So immediately going for Hydralisk range. That will, of course, allow him to trade better. If there were, I guess, force fields to deal with, but from a failed like Warp Prism Sentry play like that, he can't really follow it up too quickly. Maybe he like swaps out the Sentries for Zealots, but he still has to head home with the Warp Prism first to do that.
Yeah, and Sacsri has quite a few Lings that are on the way to the 3rd base, and will he be able to do anything there? It doesn't look like it, as there's quite a few Sentries and Zealots, and this was really an interesting approach to taking a 3rd base from MC. And for now, it looks like Sacsri is actually just massing Hydras, Roaches, and Lings, which with only 5 gases, or maybe only 4 even. I don't think the one in the main is taken. So yeah, only 4. So this is actually quite all in, which on this map with the layout, it's going to be difficult for MC to defend.
Yeah, it's quite tricky because you have that open area at the base of the ramp of your natural and the 3rd base, that valley. But it takes so many force fields to block that off. Like, you kind of have to funnel yourself as a Zerg if you want to get force field that easily.
The fact that MC is down here, though, is really scary because this is a big army and he's not on either side. He's not protected. He's going up. That's good. But this is going to be really close. MC has to have perfect force field right now.
Yeah, he has a lot of Sentry energy, so he can afford to burn quite a few. And as the Immortals come out, the Roaches are easier to deal with. But the Hydras, man, they have that range upgrade. So even forcing them away, he can still get a lot of big hits off on this army. And Sacsri's going to go up to an Infestation Pit. Imagine he's going to go for Hive behind this.
Yeah, the fact that Sacsri is transitioning is a little bit painful because he cut so much to have this many units right now. If he can't do anything, that's pretty bad. And MC has a pretty nice setup here with 2 cannons, getting rid of the Overseer as well. Which, oh, the Zerglings trying to run in from the other side, but the force fields just cut them in half. And this is not really going to kill everything. And every second that goes by, MC gets stronger and stronger. And just with the amount of units and the amount of sentries he's building, his army eventually is going to be really powerful as well.
I mean, at this point, the only weakness I'd see for this army is like you don't have the big AoE plays. With the number of sentries he has, like there's still some options to push in if like swarm hosts are on the table. But otherwise, it's a pretty potent force. The only thing I think he needs to add if he wanted to like push soon would be Blink Stalkers. Because his +2 is done?
I think he has Blink. He has to have Blink. He got the Twilight Council early, so yeah.
Because there's no Robo Bay. Like, this is really the only move he can make from this position.
He's getting a 4th Immortal, which definitely means, like, yeah, he's going to do a massive attack, which MC has always been the guy who likes to really attack with a ton of Blink Stalkers, so this is right up his alley, and he should be able to control this really well. And this is really scary for Sacsri because he cut so much economy earlier in the game that his army in the mid game is going to be that much weaker.
Yeah, I can definitely say, based on MC's games versus Rogue, I recall like at one point he basically had just like 41 Stalkers, and that was it. Just 41 Stalkers and all of his probes. Like, just lost everything else, just focused completely on the Blink Micro. And as good as it was, still difficult to make work. But he has a pretty powerful army with those 4 Immortals that you mentioned in 11 Sentries.
Yeah, this game he has a lot more than just probes and Stalkers. He's got a ton of Sentries, and those are very strong. And MC is looking to push in, looking to cut up this army.
Yeah, Blinks back to first wave. There's the force fields trying to parse this apart. And the Hydralisk up front dealing a fair amount of damage, but the Guardian Shield's really helping to soak this up. And that Warp Prism giving the reinforcements as Lings try to run by is like, there's no pylon for you to snipe. I'm in the air.
Yeah, so many Stalkers and still so much energy left on those sentries. Catches a bunch of Hydras here, and now Sacsri is up the ramp. He can be force fielded out forever. This is looking like a great position for MC to close out the series.
Yeah, I mean, MC just absolutely wrecked him. These drones are going to run away, but I mean, there's no other base. It's not like there's anywhere for these drones to go. Just on a vacation, I guess, before Sacsri GG's out, because he honestly, without this 3rd base against the 3-base Protoss, how could he ever hope to produce enough units to actually stop MC?
Yeah, what is he really getting? He's getting a Viper, which is nice, but it's only going to be 2 Abducts, and that's not going to fix his problems at all. He's getting Overlord drop, which I think must be a misclick. By now, the army supply of MC is 120 against 86, and he's rushing up the ramp. He's making his final push.
Yeah, he's going to pull the drones, trying to stop this, but the Time Warp plus the force fields is just too much, and Sacsri has everything here just basically trying to buy some sort of chance at this game, but I don't think he's going to be able to have it as MC is looking to eliminate the My Insanity Zerg player from the Gfinity Spring Masters. He's pushing in, and this is pretty much it. He does get the Mothership core, but I mean, he's fishing for pennies now, pushed down to 1 base as MC continues to reinforce. A nice blinding cloud, but that's it. The army supply is completely dwindled. GG is called. MC stays alive in this group.
MC with a typical MC, very, very powerful Blink Stalker push, kind of forced by Sacsri. Sacsri kind of forced his hand, making him make so many units defensively, and then the counter push was just too much for Sacsri to handle. And MC really recovering well from that kind of a rocky first game. I feel like he played a really solid game 2 and 3, really showing great control, great decision making, and happy to see him advance.
Yeah, especially great control, as you mentioned, like in that second game, being able to defend the big Hydralisk Ling push was purely on his Void Ray micro, like not losing anything valuable to the Hydralisks, but also getting to kill most of them as they were retreating back home. And in that last game, because I really like how you pointed out, when he was attacking the third base and, you know, the army was in that valley area, you're like, well, it's a bit painful for him to transition because he had to cut a lot to actually get that many forces out. But MC, with his force fields, he caught a lot of the Zerglings, his +1 Zealots were able to kill them. Everything just went right, and he didn't make, really didn't seem like many or any mistakes.
No, even his openings with the Warpers, and it didn't really do that much. But yeah, he just showed a brilliant mid-game macro and micro there.
Yeah, fantastic play by MC as he stays alive. We have Sacsri eliminated from the tournament, and we're going to hear from our analysts now about that match.
Thank you, guys, and welcome back, everybody. It's myself, James Banks, joined by Bling, and we will be going to... Oh, I just completely missed you off there.
I was waiting for it,
Patreus
and it never came.
I'm being rude now. Sure, that's me trying to get him back for convincing me that it was going to be a ZVZ when it's ZVP.
Douchebag Banks.
Oh, no, it's just...
That's the dream.
I'm killing myself even more here. It's not killing esports anymore, it's me just killing myself.
It is.
Fantastic games, though. MC managing to do what no one else could ever do by the looks of it and coming off with the 2-1 victory. From your point of view, Bling, how did that look?
Unexpected. Unexpected. I think both,
you all went the other way.
Yeah, I think a lot of people can agree. After MC's games yesterday, he didn't look in too good a shape. That might have been because what I learned in... during the series, they actually flew over because he had other commitments or whatever, so he flew over pretty late. So he was a bit jet lagged yesterday.
And that's going to play a major, like, fatigue's going to be ridiculous.
Yeah, no doubt. And obviously MC is a very experienced player, but jet lag is always going to affect you.
It is what it is.
But yeah, so obviously after his games yesterday, it didn't look too promising. Sacsri, the last kind of games that I watched of him, like I said, was DreamHack ages ago, which isn't that good. I couldn't prepare. This was a last-minute thing. I couldn't prepare, so just leave me alone. But yeah, that was the last kind of time that I saw him, and he was pretty damn good there. And he was, yeah, obviously he ended up winning that DreamHack. So yeah, I was expecting him to kind of maybe not roll MC, because obviously MC is unpredictable, but just after the games yesterday, I didn't think MC was going to win, and obviously he did. And I feel like MC kind of got given an extra life in map number 2. Obviously map number 1 didn't go well for him at all, but map number 2 especially, that kind of style that he did, the Void Ray style, I used to really, really like it. I used to do it all the time pretty much, until Zergs kind of figured it out a bit. And in Europe especially, obviously it's not as common in Korea, but in Europe with the way that the Zergs kind of play this like hardcore turtle swarm host style, not just a little bit, but hardcore. If you go for the style that MC did, it kind of just it just makes that happen. It forces that scenario, and it forces that turtle swarm host to come out. And if Sacsri done that, I feel like he would have been in a pretty good position, because Swarmos are pretty hard to play against, as we all know. But he didn't do that, and he went for a Mutilus, which was obviously not the best idea, as it didn't work. But yeah, obviously map number 3. Again, it seemed like Sacsri kind of had the edge early on, but I feel like he played maybe a bit timid. I'm not sure. He was a bit... I feel like after he defended that initial attack, obviously he wanted to put counter aggression on, but I don't feel like he necessarily needed to do that. I feel like he could have just sat back a bit, tech to hive like he was doing anyway, and then waited for his Vipers to do the initial attack instead of kind of forcing the issue a little bit on MC. So I don't know. I feel like MC made a lot of mistakes in game 1, but in game 2 and 3, I guess, game 2 especially, Sacsri let him get back in a little bit in game 3 as well. So maybe more Sacsri's mistakes over MC's greatness, but I don't want to be too critical. But it just seemed like that to me. I don't want to be a douche. I don't want to be you, Banks. Pretty much.
Cheers, Bling, cheers. I'll just let you continue with the slaughter of my name. Thank you, Bling. Petraeus, from your point of view, would you agree with what Bling said?
Yeah, I mean,
you don't have to agree with him. We can just bully him as well. It's fine.
It's hard to, agree with everything he said. But no, the final point, I definitely do agree. Like, the first game, like, there's not really that much to talk about. It was just pretty straight up mutas into a transition, which you don't really see often. But it worked out. Honestly, I feel he could have done anything. It just seemed like a very one-sided game from Sacsri. And that's kind of how I expected the series to unfold. But then the next game was a bit surprising. I kind of, like, Sacsri was in a really awkward spot after his Hydra Ling timing. Most of the time in the current meta, in that matchup, you're going up against heavy gateway, maybe some robo. It's not often, that heavy Stargate style, and he certainly didn't scout it. So that's why it went so poorly. Also, I think that Vani Research Station is not a good map for the 3-base timing, just because regardless of the units, like, they also have the photon overcharge at all times. It's not like you can get around that. So that in combination with, a pretty healthy void ray count meant that he was just in a terrible position. And then he almost came back, managed to max out, was a pretty solid composition, but then, like, filled out the rest of the supply with mutas, and then when he lost everything he had, he made more mutas. So I don't know what was going through his head with that, but I definitely feel like he almost came back from a pretty large deficit. And then game 3 was, I guess, a flip side of game 1, honestly. MC kind of just did a pretty MC-esque build. Kind of freestyled it with a robo, and then went some silly 3-base all-in that no other Protoss does. But it worked because Sacsri was being a bit too over-aggressive, I suppose. But yeah, I thought it was pretty well played by MC, honestly.
Well, next we're going to see MC take on Sulky. Now, I think it's fair to say Sulky a little bit of a different caliber to Sacsri. So what are we reckoning for that game? I think it's going to be different, completely different style.
Yeah, like, from what I've seen from Sulky is he just loves Roach Hydra. So I don't know how well that's going to kind of work, because I feel like MC, that's where MC is kind of strongest against Roach Hydra, as we saw in that last game. The way that Sacsri, obviously in game 1 with MC and Sacsri, the muta switch obviously caught him off guard, and then different tech choices caught MC off guard, it seemed. And Sulky, from what I remember, he's just a pretty straightforward player. Like, he doesn't do that kind of stuff. So I feel like MC probably would have an advantage going into that. I'm not sure if Sulky still plays the same style, but if he does, then yeah, I think MC's got good chances, despite the games yesterday and despite what I've just said about I think he's a good player, so don't get me wrong on that.
Yeah.
Now you're trying to cover your trash. This is what I should be trying to do a little bit more.
I just don't want to come across like...
just go over it again. It's fine. And Petraeus will quickly... This is great, Bling. I'm falling in love with you every minute.
It's just because I'm sitting next to you and you're giving off that vibe to me, man. I don't want to... I don't want to...
Petraeus, we'll quickly go to you before we take a break and actually get to see this game between Sulky and MC.
Yeah, I definitely think that you're right in that Sulky maybe... I agree. He plays a similar style, you know, that Roach Hydra thing, but I think he's definitely a tougher opponent, and I would give him the edge here. But yeah, even if he tries the same stuff, I mean, he's had the advantage where he's watched this entire series, I assume. So MC either tries stuff that he's very familiar with, or that Sulky is very familiar with, or he has to pop out something new, which he himself might not be as familiar with. So I don't know. Yeah.
Well, it's going to be a very exciting game, and we'll be taking a quick break and then coming right back between Sulky and MC.